and mainly white controlled. These are Group M, OMD, the Media Shop, Mindshare, Dentsu Agency Network, Starcom, Joe Publics, etc. To mention just the big ones that bill 95% of the total advertising spend. Almost every corporate in South Africa outsources their media planning and buying decisions to about 6 major players. Smaller black-owned media agencies only, largely get work from government departments, which accounts for a very insignificant share. Prime Media's 94.7, 702, and KFM, as well as Kagiso Media's Jacaranda FM and East Coast Radio, for instance, take at least 60% of the total radio advertising spend in South Africa. These stations don't even collectively command 25% of South Africa's radio audience share. This is in comparison, for instance, with SABC's 18 radio stations, which collectively command over 60% of South African radio audiences. A notable factor is that 94.7, with an audience of 800,000, and only based in Johannesburg, receives much more revenue compared to Metro FM, which covers the whole country, with an audience of about 4.6 million listeners. 94.7 also outperforms Ukhozi, the world's second largest radio station, despite it being national and with an audience of over 7 million listeners. The second billing radio in South Africa is Jacaranda FM, which mainly broadcasts in Pretoria and certain parts of Limpopo and Mpumalanga, which, like 94.7, bills more revenue than any SABC station. In Johannesburg, Kaya FM has the bigger audience than 94.7 and 702. Yet 94.7 bills 3 times more than Kaya FM and 702, with less than half of Kaya FM still outperforms it. The difference is that the overwhelming majority of Kaya FM's listeners are black, regarded as cheap, regardless of their spending power. Power FM enjoys a strong following of black decision makers and black middle class. Yet the station does not seem to enjoy consistent advertising support. YFM has a compelling black youth following, yet their advertising revenue is negligible compared to wide targeted competitors. Gagasi FM is KZN's largest commercial music station. Yet East Coast Radio bills almost 5 times more than Ikagas. The pattern is consistent. Advertising agencies and corporate clients are racist. For the SABC television, it is worse, because even government is prepared to spend more on private-owned television and radio than on the public broadcaster and other black media owners. Government spends an average of 34% of its budget on the SABC radio, which accounts for 60% of audiences in the country. They spend, and they will go and spend 27% on prime media alone. 27% government advertising spending. And MultiChoice receives 49%, the lion's share. This is anti-black racism. GCIS head Pumla Williams, together with the Minister of Communication, must be held accountable for this anti-black racist decision making which GCIS is still engaged in to this day. Government has deliberately sabotaged the SABC mainly because it is black and must sustain a generally large black staff across the board. Within the outdoor or out-of-home market, JC de Cox, Prime Media Outdoor, Prime Media again, Network or Provantage, Ad Outpost, dominate 80% of the outdoor market. These are billboards in the main. In essence, this market is an old white boys club led by foreign-owned company JC de Cox. The South African government, which spends over 400 billion on outdoor media, again complies with racism when it comes to a billboard. In this sector, the private big spenders like Unilever, which over the last financial year spent about 2 billion on outdoor, ShopRite 1.5 billion, Outsurance, Clientele, GSK is your Eno, your Aquafresh. The famous brands are your Debonair's Pizza, Wimpy, Pick n Pay, F&B, Standard Bank are all engaged in anti-black racism when it comes to advertisement spending. They pay more for a white-owned billboard than they would do for a black-owned billboard, regardless of where such a billboard is located, Sandton or Soweto. They can go to Baragwana, Chris Hani Road, pay more for a billboard owned by white people in the same area, and pay less to a black media owner. Within print media, Sunday World, which is black owned, by the way, has a larger circulation than City Press. Yet the advertising support for City Press is 4-fold bigger than Sunday World. City Press has 86 million compared to 22 million. But Sunday World is bigger. And Sunday World, over the past 3 years, has completely rebranded as a reliable, serious news source. Adverts appearing on City Press pay more for less people than on the Sunday World, simply because of the pigmentation of who owns Sunday World. What are we saying is that these numbers demonstrate the fact that it is not about audience buying power, because there are more people in Soweto consuming Savannah, for instance, than in Bryanston. Yet a billboard in Soweto will be less expensive than the one in Bryanston. In addition, if a billboard is white owned in Soweto, it will get more money than a billboard that is black owned. South African companies have to take the immediate decision to spend more of their advertising spending on Ukhozi, on Mhlobo Wenene, on Metro FM, who command millions of black audiences, who are at the same time the largest consumers of any of the top 10 leading product owners like Unilever. Unilever must stop its racist spending on ads. It must be held accountable. It has to take a conscious decision to command its media spending, that 80% of it has to go to the SABC and black media owners. The same goes with its expenditure on TV. 60% of its ad spend must be on the SABC so as to make, and so is the case with Pick n Pay, with SAB, with Heineken. Government itself has to stop spending on radio 947 and Prime Media more money than it does on the SABC and the black-owned private broadcasters like Power FM. Our submission is that true racism in the advertising industry is against these black media owners, SABC, MSG, Sunday World, and many outdoor owners like Kwame, Front Seat, you name them. These actors have suffered, and they continue to suffer daily because of the color of their skins. and the color of the skins of their audiences.